Hello, sixth graders. Welcome to lesson 8.7, problem solving using equations with fractions. Let's get started. You do not have to copy down this word problem, just copy down the work as I write it. On canoe trips, people sometimes carry their canoes between bodies of water. Maps for canoeing use a unit of length called a rod to show distances. Victoria and Mick carry their canoe 40 rods. The equation 40 equals 211 times d can be used to find the distance d in yards that's carried the canoe. How many yards did they carry it? All right, so I'm going to show you this problem solving it two different ways. The first way is what we have been using, multiplying by its reciprocal. And the second way is what this lesson is focusing on, which is multiplying it by the denominators. So you have the original equation, 40 equals 2 over 11d. All right, to get d by itself, I need to get rid of that 2/11ths. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I must always do to the other. So if I want to get rid of that 2/11ths, I'm going to multiply by its reciprocal, which is 11 halves. Okay, that would be 22 over 22, which is just 1. So you have d on this side. And then 11 times 40 is 440 over 2, which means d equals 220. Okay? The second way is what we're focusing on in this lesson, and it's very similar in this problem, but it looks a little bit different in the next one. So again, you have the same equation, 40 equals 2 over 11d, and you're going to multiply both sides by its denominator. So multiply both sides by 11, you get 440 equals 2d. So I'm only able to get rid of that 11. Now I still have that 2d, and that's being multiplied, so therefore I need to divide both sides by 2 to get d by itself. So d equals 220. Same answer. Personally, I like the first way better. And that will prove that you'll probably like the first way better too in this problem. Trevor is making 2/3 of a recipe for chicken noodle soup. He adds 1/2 cup of chopped celery. The equation 2/3 c equal 1/2 can be used to find the number of cups, which is c, of chopped celery in the original recipe. How many cups of chopped celery does the original recipe call for? Okay, so I'm going to show you the two different ways again. The first way is the much simpler way. You have 2/3. Let me move that over. 2/3 c equals 1/2. I want to get c by itself, so I need to get rid of that 2/3. And the way to get rid of that is by multiplying by its reciprocal to both sides. Okay, 3/2 times 2/3, well, that would be 6/6, which is the same as 1. And now you have, multiply your numerators, you get 3/4. Voila. Now here's the second way, which I personally think is much more complicated. You've got 2/3 c equals 1/2. Now this problem's a little different than our first one because if you notice, we only have one fraction, this 2/11ths. But in the second one, we have 2/3 and we have 1/2. So rather than, just like in the last one, multiplying by the only denominator that's there, this time we have to multiply by the product of the two denominators. So I have 3 and 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So now I have to multiply both sides by 6. Okay, so then you get 12/3 c, which is the same as 4c, and you get 6/2, which is the same as 3. Get that c by itself by dividing both sides by 4. You get c equals 3/4. Hopefully I've convinced you that multiplying by the reciprocal is much easier and more efficient because you don't have to worry about if there's one fraction or two fractions or even 10 fractions, right? I wanted to show you what that looks like when you multiply by denominators, but I would strongly recommend that you just focus on multiplying by the reciprocals. Okay? Here's your one and only practice problem. You don't have to write down the problem. If you want, you can just number it as the first line, the second line, and the last line, which would have your answers. Your answer, I should say, of what D equals. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.